So this is designed to be a really interactive exercise. So I'm Sarah, and my wheelhouse is small multifamilies in the big cities. This is it's in Montevideo, Minnesota. It's a 30-unit condominium complex built in the 90s. And this was an off-market deal that popped up. So larger deals feel a little intimidating for me. So I'm going to ask the room to, okay? Everybody on board with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was an off-market deal. It came through a property manager that manages this particular property. Seller was looking for off-market. He wanted to go off-market. He's owned it for about 15 years. He lives in one of the units. It's small, Montevideo, Minnesota. So he wanted to be very persistent to not freak his. And the first thing that we got was this appraisal. And so the seller had it appraised. Appraisal came in at 5.5 million. Now I'm going to bring you over to the next thing we got was his rent roll. Does anybody see the cursor?
Was the appraisal?
Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sarah. It's currently on my screen. Go to there right there.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Was the appraisal based on land and the property, or was it based on the rent roll?
Based on the
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't based on a cap rate.
Okay.
So what we see here is
Did the seller know that when he had the appraisal done? Did he know there's a difference? I just want to see if he had to overcome that portion of the conversation.
We had to overcome that portion of the conversation, but it wasn't a hard conversation to have.
Okay, so
it was very simple.
Okay.
So monthly rent, 32,000. And the first thing we asked the seller after seeing that was, okay, well, you shared your appraisal at 5.5 million. Is an offer of 3 million out of question? Or do we still have something to talk about? And he said, yeah, we still have something to talk about. So we pursued more information. One of the things that became immediately apparent was that his long-term tenants they're severely undermarket. So this, for example, this 3-bedroom initial occupancy date in 2019 at 1,040. But more recently, 1,300, and that's probably still low. But it's a small town, and for him, you know, owning it for 15 years, it was cash flowing. But for a new buyer, that's not sustainable. But you also, in a small market, we would look at this and try to just do rent increases through attrition, so that we don't have a lot of vacancies and a 3 to 5% annual increase in market rents. Yeah.
Sarah, some of the expiration dates are whatever, it looks like most of the year. Do you know, are any of them have a built-in increase?
They do not.
So every year they can go up 3% or 5% or something?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you also notice that it looks like he was probably thinking about selling this because a lot of the expiration dates are the end of May this year. So he was probably planning for that.
At 5.5, you're at about a 7 cap right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So quirks of this particular property, there is a solar array on the roof, owned by a different company. So
Oh.
yes, the seller rented the roof space to his dad for $1 a year. So his dad could do an opportunity zone solar company. So we had to figure out how do we roll that in to it. Now dad passed away. Dad's estate owns the solar company. But it really doesn't make sense to have fixtures on a property that are owned by a different entity. So we had to figure out how to roll that into the purchase agreement. And what we ended up doing was separate purchase agreements. Final price on it was $100,000 for the solar and 2.7 million for the property itself. Another quirk is that the owner lived in one of the units and he wasn't paying any rent.
That's typical.
Okay,
Is that
so
reflected on the current rents?
I did put that into the pro forma. So I took his rent roll and then I just added the rent that he would be paying. Montevideo. So Montevideo is it's a small exurban market. Anybody know Montevideo? Familiar with it? 2.5 hours west of here. Kind of a farming community, but a small city. Median household income is about 66K, and it has a slightly declining population.
Sure.
How would you guys weigh in on that? We got some commercial people here.
I'm sure that's true. You have the younger generation moving towards the cities or quote unquote the technology jobs that aren't in Montevideo. So you got the old school with old businesses doing fine, but they're staying and the younger ones are moving on to bigger opportunities.
Not much around there. Google mapping it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's these over there.
Okay, so I simplified the T12 that the seller gave us. And this is essentially the actual vacancy rate is around 2%. But in our pro forma, we just use 5% to vacate bank.
You've got electricity charge on there, so he doesn't benefit from the solar panels.
Where's the electricity charge?
You got 21.
Yes. So that is a pass through. All of the units are sub-metered.
Yeah.
And you'll see later on as income, we have the expense and then the income.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there any long-term play of subdividing this?
Yes, that's exactly, the cash flow is okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay. But the real value comes in when you look, let's keep it for 5 years, subdivide it and sell them, slowly trickle them out.
Yeah.
Because I think the median cost of a home in Montevideo right now is about 220,000, 230,000.
Yeah.
So if we could get, even 175 for one of these units, the HOA fee would be very minimal because there's not a lot of shared resources.
Yeah.
That's the play.
Okay.
That's where, I'm gonna bring up what really hammered this home for me is the square footage is 39,000 of rentable area. And that comes out to be $70.56 per finished square foot. So you can't even touch that for a new build. Yeah, I think that's what clinched this deal for me was, wow, you can get it for under replacement, way under replacement cost. Okay. Inspection. We did go and do a full inspection of each unit in great shape. Newer roofs were put on when solar went in about 6 years ago. And the only real CapEx that will be coming up is the HVAC units, which are original. So what would you guys think how much needs to be in reserve for that CapEx? AC and furnace both for each unit. They're all separate.
On slab.
It's on slab, yeah. Mhm.
What's the square foot per unit? I'm gonna say 6,400 for AC and heating unit.
I budgeted $7,000. And who knows, if they're doing 30 plus units, maybe you get these bill. Would you plan that CapEx or would you just do it, by as needed?
It's needing all new AC, you're saying? I just caught it.
Yeah, they're original. So built in the 1995, 96, and 97. So they're 30 years. They're definitely good, good solid train units. Top of the line, but 30 years old.
See, you have to budget for it, but placing them right away, if they're working fine, then let them rip. No.
Okay. And you don't think it would be more expensive to have one go out in the winter?
It'd be less convenient.
Yeah. Mhm. All right. So, we have.
Sarah, is this your spreadsheet that you created?
This is the one that I got in Realtor school.
Really?
Yeah, in the investment class. I still use it.
Very cool.
Did anybody take that class from Dave Snyder? Way back in the day? Yeah. I like this, there's some things that I don't like about the spreadsheet, like, minor stuff, like he doesn't allow for financing costs, but that's easy enough to work on. We did figure, we reached out to a lot of smaller banks in more rural communities and found that we got way better terms. We were able to source a 25-year AM at 6.25% with 20% down, which made this work.
Are those fully amortizing,
Fully amortizing,
no balloons or?
no balloon.
No balloon, 25-year no balloon.
Assumable?
No, not assumable. So when we go to subdivide, that's gonna have to be figured out.
Three-phase?
I think it's a 3-2-1.
That's a phenomenal
It is.
deal.
That is. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't, we didn't think that it'd be a great cash flower until we found that. And better insurance than for sure. Debt service coverage, not great. Right, but I think we can improve that with doing minor rent increases, 3 to 5%. What am I missing?
I would say with the rent increases, I mean, I don't know, it seems like everything you buy the first 4 years is just getting it all tuned up and ready to rip. I mean, you got a 3-year project on getting that in the right shape.
Yeah, the per unit cash flow, not very compelling. The other piece of this isn't a self-managed deal. It's too far away for
Do
self-managed.
you have the management fee in there? And how much is it?
Yeah, the current management fee is he charges $60. He's local and he manages properties all over Minnesota. But I calculated that that's gonna go up to 80 per unit, from 60 to 80 for a couple of reasons. One is that the current owner actually once a month goes and reads all the electrical sub-meters for charging the tenants. And we're gonna have to have the property manager do that. They need to get paid for it. And also the owner takes care of little things, as he's on site, he'll take care of little things that need to be taken care of. So that has to also be rolled into the cost. So I just figured, let's see, we'll go back here. Actually, yeah, I increased it to 2. I wanted to be pretty conservative about that. I'm not really sure how much the owner does that is gonna have to be transferred to property management or other professionals to manage that. Who would do this? Who would buy this? Would you buy it, Dale?
The distance would cause me no, just from that standpoint, but from an investment standpoint, it certainly has it seems like pretty good thing. The thing I quickly want to learn is tell me about the tenants and what options do they have. So if you have a lot of the tenants that expire at the end of May, whenever, the next couple of months, let's say, what are the options that are available in Montevideo? Because nothing kills you more than vacancies.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest, or at least just to learn a little bit about it. Oftentimes people are just simply reluctant to move. And so you've got to find out where that threshold is. You had some at 1,300 for that 3-bedroom, another at 1,040. Okay, you get that. So you pick up $260 in rent on the one. There's probably others that can go up too. But would that scare them away? In other words, would they go quote unquote across the street? So I'd want to learn that a little bit more about a Montevideo. But I've got to believe it's probably I don't know, I'll call it traditional, but stable environment for people. So moving isn't on their top priority, not like a young town where the college people are moving every other month. So just a little bit understanding of who the tenants are right now. I certainly would want to get the solar utility thing kind of figured out too, to help if it's on the roof and reduce that.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up the rental or did I not bring that? Shoot, okay.
No, your rent roll is right next to it, too.
Do we have the Tarkin Solar?
The one that you told me to get rid of.
No, anyway, I'll just give you the summary. The net income from the solar is 27,000. It averages 27.
Wow. Yeah, that's big.
And there's an apartment building that sold 2 months ago that is about 4 blocks away for 125,000 per door. Half of these units are 2-level and half are single level.
Do you have a picture of it?
I do, let's see here. See if we have it in the appraisal.
That's 2 doors right there, or is that?
That is the 4. Yep, there's two levels and then a single. The single levels, so most of the great majority are like retired members. And the single levels have a waiting list. It's harder to fill the 2-story.
Can't be on the farm no more, move in there.
Simple, right? And, they're in their 70s, mid-70s, and just need something accessible. There's a lot of, in the bathrooms, there's a lot of accessibility features. They have cutouts in the fiberglass tubs to allow for wheelchair access.
How big of a waiting list are those?
The property manager said that, so there are 15 of these are single level, and they have a waiting list of about 8 people on average. So nice waiting list for that. And
Is there any zoning issue or anything like that as you move forward, when you decide to sell them off individually?
no, these were built by the city. And the current owner bought them from the city. But
Money.
our initial thought with this was to purchase as tenants in common, do 1031 exchanges and purchase as tenants in common. Unfortunately for me, Katie was able to pull together enough money from her 1031 exchanges that she could do it as a single entity. She doesn't have to do tenants in common. So what else, you guys? What other gaps would you be looking for?
So the only deferred maintenance is the HVAC, that windows, everything else is good.
Windows are great, roofs are newer, they just redid siding, from a hail claim. And HVAC is the only CapEx that is coming up, I think, in the next, 5 to 7 years. How much would you, this is a question I have for all of you. When in a typical larger, well, even a smaller investment, what do you budget for reserves for CapEx? Like, do you base it on square footage? Do you base it on rents? Do you base it on value?
Base it on what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So a reserve study.
Yeah. If you're buying a bigger building that has a steam boiler, that's gonna cost you a lot more than a hot water boiler. You're gonna have to budget for that going into it. Some people might not know that.
So what about just like let's call it a duplex, one of your St. Paul, 4-plex or 2-plex.
Then it's gonna be
You just
similar to a single family.
look at what they get aging and kind of fall apart.
HVAC, windows, roofs, those are typically the big ones.
And what would you, for vacancies, like what's your standard?
Go off the existing vacancy.
So even as a lender, you would say like 2% is pretty low.
No, I'd go off what their existing vacancies are for
Okay,
my calculations, not as a lender. My calculations as an investor.
okay. But a lender would probably want to see the higher of 5% or your actual. Right? So I
You gotta
use
look at the
5%.
market vacancy too.
Yes, right. Mhm. Do you, I don't have a way to look that up easily. Do you, Dave? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm thinking. So there's lots of good data in the Twin Cities area. I don't know about amount of video though.
Yeah, right. So would you guys pivot? Would you guys pass? Or would you buy it? And with Jared's idea of subdividing these and selling them off in 5 years, slowly dribbling them out. Who would pass?
Pretty secure. You got a waiting list and demand for it. If the management company wasn't good, then I would really look. That's one thing, but the distance, I would go ahead and really look at the management company.
Yeah, that's what, it's definitely what happens if they decide they don't wanna manage it. Right, that'd be. Would be a huge concern.
Do you think you could segment these, like, that's a fourplex? There's 30 of these, or is there 30?
There's 30.
There's 30.
Yeah, there's a couple of
There's
duplexes.
a couple of duplexes. So could you segment them in duplexes and fourplexes? Cause are they metered? When he looks at the meter, is it a meter for each building?
No.
So it's for
No.
each individual?
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's two builds. There's Folsom Park 1 and Folsom Park 2. But I didn't really get a good idea of how the solar is divided and
Oh, sure.
yeah, that was hard to trace. I would have to get an electrician to figure that out or get the plan. I didn't get that.
Are there any comps available in Montevideo for duplexes and fourplexes that you could look at for future sales?
I looked at townhomes. Yeah, and currently, most of the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom townhomes are at about 160,000. In decent shape. So getting them at under 100 felt like a pretty good deal.
Absolutely.
And do each one of these, if you were to sell them off, is there a separate lot for each one of these, or would you have to have an association to sell them?
You have to have an association. You have to have an association. But I don't think that, I think the association would own the solar. And that income would go to the association. It would, it would be kind of like it's set up now with this separate entity and then sub-metering too.
Oh, that would be cool.
Still something to figure out, but as well as how is the bank gonna play ball when you're subdividing? How do you do that? I'm not sure. One of those things that, well, we'll have to figure it out when you get in. Okay.
Yeah.
But for a 1031, I think this made a lot of sense to, as Jared said, get rid of the noise and just put it into one simple, professionally managed, trustworthy property management. And the woman who I was going to partner with this has experience with this property manager. This property manager manages other complexes for her and is really solid. So gives me confidence that they're gonna be around for a while. And it's not just a, two guy, he has staff. It's a very stable business model that he has.
What does the rest of the neighborhood look like? Is it all just these units in one little pocket and that's it, or is it
No.
a single family?
Couple of assisted livings, facilities, but the majority is single family homes. The assisted living communities have been on the market for a while. They're not selling.
Because they'll probably rather move, like farmers, they'll probably want to move them in there over going to assisted living. Because, well, someone can always check in on mom and dad in these places. If you send them assisted living, like my grandparents are in, much more expensive than it'd probably be out there, but it's for both of them, it's $32,000 a month.
Whoa.
So,
Wow.
but that's with help.
Yeah.
But most farming communities, they'll watch their own, they'll take care of people too. So that's it. Overall is a good unit. I don't have runs myself, but that's very logical. And I'm looking at the bird's eye view of it. You're right by the Hope Reformed Church I see right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that far from the schools, a few churches there. You got Trinity School, but honestly, walking distance if people are able to walk, I guess too, but pretty close to most everything.
Local cafe nearby.
Cafe, yeah. You got McDonald's.
They have a Walmart.
Yeah. Shoot, you got morning BS with all the neighbors or whatever at McDonald's 1 block away.
What's the tax history look like in the insurance history? Is it standard?
Pretty stable. The seller's insurance cost was around 40,000. We got it bid out at 32,000, but I still left 40,000 in the pro forma. Mostly because I think now we're gonna be combining the solar and that has to be insured as well.
Sure.
That was a replacement cost too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep. That's what I got. That was the pro forma. This was why I was sad, but gotten over not participating in this for 1031. If I were in her position, I would keep it simple too. Right, rather than doing a tenant in common structure, just a single entity is so much more simpler.
When you talked about like the partnership,
Mhm.
what were you did you like talk about like what you would have for reserves when you kick out dividends?
Yeah, we talked about capital calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also talked about what happens if, it's two couples, right? So what happens if one couple divorces and we have to divest? What happens if, somebody dies and, the heir inherits and all of a sudden you're with a partner you don't know who's 25 years old and doesn't know shit, right? How do we manage all of that? And creating a tenant in common agreement is really important. Planning for all of those contingencies and all of those what ifs.
Do you have your spouse on your LLCs?
No.
So if the LLC was buying it and another LLC was buying it, then the spouse would be out of it, right? Well, you could just say, because if you pass, then there should be a due on, a sale agreement already in place to buy you out.
Initially to amass all the funds, we were doing, wives would join with their LLC.
Yeah.
So each wife would be one tenant in common. And then the husbands were doing their self-directed Roth IRAs.
Okay.
So complicated.
Yeah.
If that was the only way we could get it done, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's-
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks
Yeah.
for participating. Those are really great. I learned a lot.
What time did this start?
What's up? 12:45?
It did, okay.
Yeah.
I felt like I missed a whole bunch and I missed like 4 minutes.
Oh,
Anyway. There's nothing, we started at noon, I'm 45 minutes late.